Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome back to my channel, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to hang out with me. If you've never been here before, welcome. I'm so very happy that you decided to click on my video, and I do so hope that you will subscribe and like before you leave and become part of the Mama family. I am so happy to have you. Today we're going to be talking about all that base, everything about base makeup. Now, I usually focus quite a bit on the eyes because, you know, those are the windows to the soul. And not only that, but it's kind of like one of my favorite parts of makeup. But as I get into the whole makeup thing and as I, you know, discover new products, the base is like, it's art too. Like, there is such an art to making you know, your base and your foundation and your contour look perfect. Like, a perfect base is just so good. It is literally what everything else is built off of. And you can have bomb eye makeup, but if your base looks like poo, your whole face is gonna look like poo. And that's what we're trying to avoid. So today I'm going to kind of walk through, you know, a little bit of what I would do for like a full glam face. A lot of the times I kind of focus on more of, you know, like everyday kind of light coverage, just enough to really bring out your inner beauty. But today we are gonna release our inner diva. We are gonna release our inner glamazon, and we are gonna go full face, full glam, just grrr. So that's what we're gonna focus on today. I've got all of my stuff laid out on my table right in front of me, and we're just gonna really kind of dive into it. Not gonna focus too much on the eyes today. I might touch on the eyes depending on how long the video is, but we're really just gonna go in depth to a really fantastic base makeup. Just a little bit of information before we start. I have dry skin. I have super dry skin, and for the most part, it's pretty all right, but my under eyes are super dry. My nose tends to eat makeup, and just overall, my skin just kind of like sucks the moisture out of everything. So we're gonna figure out how to work with that. And these would definitely work for normal to combo leaning dry skin as well. I don't know that this would work you know, 100% for like my oilier skinned mamas, but I'm sure there's something here for everyone. I'm hoping anyway. I don't have anything on my face right now except for moisturizer. I'm gonna put my hair back real quick, just kind of get it out of my face a little bit, just with my hairband, and we're gonna go right into prep. We're gonna do prep. So I have moisturizer on, but we're gonna do a little bit of primer. I have two different primers that I'm gonna use, and that, I think, is what a lot of people just kind of like don't really think about. Is you think, oh well, you just need one primer. No, baby. You use as many primers as you think you need. I usually use one for pore filling, one for moisturizing, and one for glow, because I like that glow. I like to look very lit from within. I'm having a very good skin day today, so I'm not going to focus too much on moisturizing because I already have my moisturizer on, but I am going to use a glow primer, and I am going to use a pore filling primer. I'm going to go in with my glow primer first. This is the Uoma by Sharon C. This is from Walmart. This is the Primed to Glow primer. I think the packaging is super cute. I like that it's in a little squeezy tube, and this is my unopened one, so I'm going to get my open one because I like it so much I have a backup. I'm going to get my open one down here, and I'm just going to take a little bit on the tip of my finger. I'll show you guys what it looks like. It's just a slightly luminous, it's got kind of like a golden tint to it. There's very small like reflex of like pearl in here, but no glitter. So if you're not into glitter, that's totally okay. This will still work for you. This also has vitamin C in it, so it's good for your skin as well. It does feel nicely moisturizing as well, which I enjoy. And I just kind of smear this one all over my face, making sure to really touch on my drier areas, which would be my nose. I even take it up underneath my eyes. I know a lot of people don't do that, but I find that that little bit of extra moisturizer really does help. Gotta be careful because I already have my brows on. I tell you what, I have been really focusing on my brows here lately. trying to really perfect them. And once I get a fully perfected routine down, I will totally 100% share that with you guys and what products I've been using. But I think today I'm having a really nice brow day. They're even, they look the same, they're not too dark. I do prefer a nice bolder brow, and that's just because I usually do pretty bold eye makeup, and I need a bolder brow to kind of stand up to the bright colors that I use, but you definitely don't have to go as dark as I do. It's 100% about personal preference. I just like a dark brow. I have been told that people would prefer that I don't do my brows so dark, but luckily it's not their face and it's mine, so we don't have to worry about that. I really, really like it. And even like right now, even with just this primer on, I would be totally okay just to walk out of the house just like this, maybe throw a little bit of lip balm on and be good to go. But we're going to go for it today. We're going to go for it today. My face is just a little bit pink today, and I think it's because I don't know why it is. I'm just a pink person. I just have pink skin. We're going to go in with this this primer. Now, this is the Winky Luxe Whipped Cream Primer. Now, this is super, super gimmicky, but I really, really enjoy this primer. I also have one by L'Oreal that is super, super similar. This one, the Winky Luxe one, is more expensive than the L'Oreal one. This is my L'Oreal Magic Perfecting Base. I absolutely adore this primer. It is so, so good. It really just kind of smooths everything out. To me, this is kind of a dupe for the Tarte Smoothing Primer, which is fantastic as well, but super expensive. And this is only 10 bucks at Walmart. This one you can only get from Target or from the Winky or Target online, or they sell this at Target. I'm not sure where else, but this is kind of expensive. I know this primer was about $20, so twice as much as my L'Oreal. I think that the L'Oreal works just a tiny bit better than this one, but I think this one is just really, really cool. It's really, really adorable packaging. So you've got this really cute kind of gold lid with the lace on top. It's a whipped cream primer. It doesn't really smell like anything, but it really does feel like whipped cream. It's super, super light. Silicone-based primer. And I don't use a ton of this, and I don't smear it all over my face either. I really just kind of use this where I have super deep set lines, and then where my pores are the biggest. So that would be around my nose and on the sides here. And you can see as I'm putting this on, I'm kind of swiping and pressing it into my skin and really kind of trying to mash it into my pores. I'll do the same thing on this side. As I'm filming this, it is a Saturday afternoon. My husband has the next 2 days off. So I'm trying to get, a video done so I can get you guys some content, so that way I can spend the rest of the weekend with Mr. Hubby and just kind of enjoy not doing anything. Oh, we'll see how that goes. I'm not the kind of person that can just lay there and not do anything. I'm like up and down. Y'all should see me when we go to the movies. It almost makes me have a panic attack because I feel like I can't get up and I can't move, and it's kind of crazy. Do any of y'all feel that way too? I always feel like I have to be like, I almost feel guilty when I'm not doing anything. I almost feel like I should be up and I should be like functioning and like doing something useful. Let me know in the comments if I'm the only one that feels that way. I can't be. It's got to be more common than I think it is. So I just kind of mashed that into my face. I really made sure to press it into my pores. Now, I think I have my light a little dimmer than I usually do because I really wanted you guys to be able to see my face and like see the texture and stuff that's going on. I'm pretty lucky in the fact that my skincare routine is working for me right now, and it's working hard, and my face actually looks really, really nice. I'm super, super proud of my skin. So if you guys are interested in seeing an updated skincare video, again, let me know in the comments and I will 100% film that for you. I feel like my skincare is like continuously evolving. Every time I find something new, I kind of try it out and I test it out. And when I find something that's truly special, I usually try to like mention it to you guys. but it's working really well for me. I have incredibly large pores around my upper lip. I have them around my nose, not so much over here, but definitely like on the tip of my nose, and then just like around my lips. I'm not sure why they're as large as they are, especially around my upper lip area, but those are my problem zones. And then of course the wrinkles on my forehead are like the bane of my existence, so I try to fill them in at least just a little bit. And then I have a couple of lines around my mouth just because I have super chubby cheeks. So I have a little bit of a line here. So I try to fill that in. The best thing you can do when you use a pore filling primer is let it sit. Like, oh, and we're already 10 minutes in. This is going to be a long video, guys. Hope y'all get a snack and a cup of coffee because we're here for the long haul. So what was I saying? Oh my goodness. Okay, we're just going to move on because I am so scatterbrained today. Let it sit. That's what I was saying. Let your primer sit. Any kind of pore filling primer really needs time to sit and kind of like set down on your skin and really like attach itself and sink into your pores. Because if you put it on and then just go straight into your foundation, it's kind of negating the whole thing because you're just going to be smearing it around and it's not going to stay where you put it. So I like to give it at least a good 30 seconds, a minute to really kind of sit there and really kind of gel with my skin. While it's doing that, I'm going to talk to you about the foundation that we're going to use today. So this is the Hard Candy Glamoflauge. It says it's got 16-hour wear. It's oil-free. So this would be great for my oily ladies because this is a matte foundation. But it's not like a super matte foundation. I find that there's also just a little bit of a more natural finish to this, so it doesn't look quite as fake. And I say fake in like very, very loosely because on some women, super matte foundation just looks like airbrushed and flawless and absolutely stunning, right? But for me, for my super dry skin, I put a super matte foundation on and y'all, I look like cake face. I look cake face and I look like I literally have a mask on, and it's not cute. But I find that this one actually kind of straddles that line between full coverage matte and totally too much for me, and I really enjoy that. I have it in two different flavors. I was going to say two different colors. I've got 1504 buff and 1505 beige. So we're going to see which one of these kind of works best for my skin right now. I haven't used this foundation in forever just because, again, I'm not like a super full coverage foundation lady. But we're gonna try it out. They're two different caps, and it's not because it's a different formula. I think it's just because they literally just redesigned the packaging. But I actually wish they would have kept the pink top because I thought it was super, super cute. The thing about these is there is a doe foot applicator. I know that turns a lot of people off. It doesn't quite bother me so awful much. I mean, it's not the most hygienic thing in the world. So if it really does bother you, you can always take it and put it on the back of your hand and then use it from there. Just because this is my personal foundation and I don't use it on clients, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to put it onto my face. I'm going to go in with the lightest shade first. So this is 1504. And we'll see if this is too light for me. I'm not super, super pale at the moment, but I think what I'll do, yeah, that's super, super light. I'll kind of use this as more of like my highlight shade, and less is more when it comes to full coverage foundations like this. So I am not going to like pile this onto my face. I'm just going to do dots, and then if I need more later, I will add more. But like I always say, it's always easier to add than it is to subtract. So it's always easier to add more product to your face than it is to take it off once you've put it there. So going into 1505 now, this is not much deeper or much darker than the other one, but it is more yellow, and I'm curious to see how this undertone is going to work for me, because this one is definitely more like kind of pinky, and this one is definitely more yellow. And I feel like I have both of those undertones in my skin. So we'll see how this works. I might really like it. We'll see. I'm going to take the flat end of my beauty sponge. That's another tip for my dry skinned ladies. Add moisture wherever you can. So if you are using a drying foundation like this and you're like, oh, it's super dry, it makes me look cakey, try using a dampened beauty blender, and that little bit of moisture that's in the sponge is going to infuse with the formula, and just add that little bit of extra moisture that might make all the difference in your application. For a full coverage foundation, this blends pretty well. I can see that it automatically got rid of most of my redness here. It's blending really, really pretty. The undertone is actually really nice for my skin. I think the combination of the two colors is really nice. I don't remember what the shade range for this foundation is like, but I believe it was all right. It was decent. I live in the middle of nowhere, and my drugstores don't carry, you know, big shade ranges anyway. So I can never really judge what a shade range is like unless I go online and check it out there. But they did have quite a few different shades at Walmart when I picked this up, but it's been so long ago. It's blended out really, really beautiful. Now, as always with a sponge, it's going to lessen a little bit of your coverage because, of course, your sponge is going to soak up just a little bit of that product. But I find that to be helpful, especially if I over apply. I tend to do that quite often as well. I go pretty heavy-handed with my foundation sometimes, and I kind of depend on my beauty blender to kind of save me from that. But from first application and from that first layer, now I did do a fairly light layer. I didn't pile the concealer. Not concealer, I didn't pile a ton of foundation on my face, but I would not say that this is super full coverage. I will say it has given me a solid like medium coverage, and I could definitely build this up if I wanted to, which I'm going to do. I want to go for a nice full coverage today, so I'm going to build it up just a little bit more. I think I'm going to go back into the deeper shade, and I'm going to put just a little bit more just around the perimeter of my face, and then maybe a little bit here, and we'll just see how that goes. This foundation actually has blended out so beautifully. It looks really, really beautiful on my skin. It's not very matte, as you can see from the finish. I still have that little bit of glow. Now, some of that is going to be from my primer because I used that glowy primer, but it has mattified my face to a point where it feels and it looks almost airbrushed and flawless. I think it's a really, really beautiful foundation. I really, really enjoy this. I don't wear it as often as I probably should. It's just blending out super, super easily. I feel like it has evened out my skin wonderfully. It's so pretty. I do still have just a little bit of shine, but I can tell that I'm fairly mattified. I think it's super, super pretty. I'm going to blend this out just around my hairline, just because I tend to get pretty red around the perimeters of my face because I am super, super pale and super fair. And not only that, but I'm super German as well. My ancestry is super, super German, and we're just really red people anyway. So I try to cover that as much as I can, you know, without looking like I have a mask on. I have got to say that I think this foundation is so pretty. I think it looks so good. I feel like it's building up wonderfully as well. I could totally keep building this if I wanted to, but I feel like I have a nice solid like high medium coverage, and I'm really, really happy with that. Maybe I could put a little bit more around my nose, but because I'm gonna do a concealer and stuff, I'm gonna let my concealer really help with that. And that's going to help keep me from looking cakey. You never want to go overboard because always remember that you're going to be putting concealer on, and it is going to offer you coverage as well. We just want the concealer for that little bit of extra coverage, but it's evened out most of my redness up here. I think this is so pretty. Always remember to blend down your neck. I have a lot of redness around my neck as well. So I really try to blend my foundation down to help cover that just a little bit. And I feel like the color match is actually really, really nice. I am enjoying that quite a bit. For concealer today, I'm going to use this. This is the Maybeline Master Conceal. This is the camouflaging concealer in the shade 10 Fair. Now, I haven't been able to find this in forever, and I don't know if they still make it. So a good dupe for this would be the Covergirl Outlast Extreme Wear Concealer. This is a fantastic as well. I like the undertone of this just a little bit more. I find that this is a bit more yellow. It manages to be, it's very peachy because it's pink and yellow. It's got both of those undertones in it that I feel like mesh with my skin really, really well. It's a very full coverage concealer. So it's pretty thick, but it's also creamy. I don't find it to be drying at all whatsoever. The same, I feel, goes for this. It is a wonderful, very, very fantastic concealer. Super high coverage, creamy, a little bit thick, but creamy, blends out easily, really just kind of sinks into the skin. Doesn't emphasize texture. It doesn't dry me. My under eyes especially. Really, really beautiful concealers. I'm going to take this just on the back of my hand. And I kind of want to show it to you guys what the color is. It's got that little bit of like a peachy undertone to it, but it's still got like the brightening yellow in there as well. And that's really going to help to brighten my under eyes. And I'm just going to take it on my finger. And I'm just going to start tapping this right where I want it. Now, I'm not taking it all the way up underneath my eyes because I have textured under eyes. I have wrinkles under my eyes. And the less product we can put on our wrinkles, the better they're going to look at the end of the day. I'm also bringing this down the side of my nose. And then in the middle of my nose. I'm just going to kind of blend that out with my finger and kind of tap that into place with whatever was left. Just like that, just to get our nose contour started. And then I'm going to take my beauty blender and I'm just going to take the pointed edge and I'm just going to start pressing this into my skin. I'm also going to bring it up towards my temples to help kind of lift my face. What happens is your eye wants to follow the light. So the reason that we brighten our under eyes and build it up towards our temple is because our eye is going to follow the light and it's going to make, it's going to give a very lifted effect to our face. I'm going to bring it down the center of my face as well. It blends out so easily. I love the tone of this concealer. It's really got beautiful coverage. It's hidden my dark circles really, really well. There's no grayness under there at all anymore. I look really, really smooth. I mean, I have indentations, but that's just because I have a chubby face, and there's really nothing I can do about the actual structure of my face. But I can get rid of any kind of discoloration that might be there. And this concealer really, really helps me to do that. Not only that, but I feel like it is so pretty on fair skin. It doesn't emphasize any of my texture. It doesn't sink into any of my lines. It doesn't make my pores look bigger than they actually are. It is a really, really beautiful concealer. I'm also going to take just a little bit more of the concealer and put it on my forehead, my chin. I'm going to take a little bit more on the back of my hand. Now, a little bit of this really does go an awful long way, so just keep that in mind. I'm going to take a little bit on my forehead and on my chin, and just taking the same side of my beauty blender. I like to blend this up over, my white balance is going off because I'm too close to the camera. I like to blend over my eyebrows just to make my brow look a bit more prominent. I find that that takes away from how wide my forehead is. And it gives my forehead just a little bit more shape and helps it not to look so awfully flat and large down the center of my nose and then on my chin as well. And then I also like to bring it up underneath my lip just a little bit. I do like to leave this space alone. I like that to look nice and deep, which in turn makes my lower lip look bigger. So I leave this part alone and just kind of bring it up the sides. And then with whatever's left on the back of my hand, bring that there. And this is just going to help with our contour later. We're going to reinforce this with powder later as well, but just waste not, want not. We're just going to kind of blend that in everywhere. Blending it down. Just like that. I know this is probably going to be a super, super boring video, but I feel like a good base is so important. And a lot of people focus on, you know, bright color and eyeshadow and stuff like that because it's so much fun. But, you know, the whole point of it is to make ourselves look, you know, better and, you know, bring out our inner beauty as much as we can. And if we're walking around with a base that looks like a giant cakey mess, we could be, you know, like, I'm going to take my nose ring out real quick because it's going to fall out. We could be walking around with the world's best. Picasso could have painted our eyes. You know what I mean? And if we're walking around with a greasy, cakey mess of a base, none of that is going to matter. So this is where we're at. We're beautifully, beautifully covered. We don't look cakey. We still look very, very natural while being fairly full coverage. And I think we're off to a really great start. Now we're going to do a little bit of cream bronzer. For that, this is my absolute favorite. This is the L'Oreal Paris Infallible Full Wear Concealer. This is in the shade 395 Walnut. This is the best cream bronzer slash contour ever. I love the tone. It's warm, but it's got that slight cool gray undertone that works for you know, sculpting as well. It is so perfect. Again, this is a full coverage concealer, so a little bit of this is going to go a very long way. I like to do just tiny dots right above the natural indent of my cheek. I like to bring it along my hairline. I like to bring it around my hairline up here on my forehead as well. Now, I have a heart-shaped face because I have a widow's peak. So if I was to put another dot of concealer right here, it's going to bring the contour down way too far and kind of negate what the effect I'm trying to go for. So I'm just going to put a couple dots on either side of my widow's peak. And just kind of add more if I think it's necessary. I also like to do a little bit of this down each side of my nose, kind of as like a pre-contour, and then a little bit in the center of my lip, and then under my lip as well. This is not a super deep, dark kind of contour. When I get it blended out, it's going to really blend into my skin and look almost so natural. It is so pretty. Again, for that, I'm going to go in with my Beauty Blender. And when I start blending this out, I'm going to start tapping and get most of that product just placed right here. And then I'm going to start going in upward motions and blending it up. I don't want to blend it down because I want to lift my cheeks. And I'm going to keep most of my pigment concentrated back here, more towards my ear. And I'm not really swiping or dragging my Beauty Blender across my face. I'm really just kind of tapping. And then when I blend by my temples, I'm going to make sure that I blend up into my hairline because I don't want that line of demarcation between my bronzer and my hairline because that's going to make it look less natural as well. I really want to get it blended into my hairline as well as I can. We are going to go in with a little bit of a powder bronzer later as well to help kind of deepen and darken this up. But this is just our first layer, and it's a really beautiful natural first layer. You could definitely stop with just the cream contour if that's what you wanted to do, and it would look absolutely stunning. I want to go for like full glam today, so I'm going to take it just a couple steps further. But even this, just on its own, is so, so beautiful. It blends out so naturally. So, so pretty. I'm going to continue to blend that up into my hairline. Trying to keep it pretty close. And then I want to kind of blur this line out. So to do that, I don't want a straight line of contour or of bronzer on my forehead. So to kind of blur that line, I'm going to take the edge of my beauty blender that I used for my foundation. And I'm just going to kind of tap over the edges to kind of disperse that product just a little bit more. So that way we don't have a solid line of contour or bronzer. And I'm going to do the same on this side. I'm going to tap, 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 keeping most of my pigment back here towards my ear. And then I'm going to start pulling it up. I don't want to take it up too far because we still have to put blush and highlight on. But I'm taking it up and gradually fading it so that way it looks super, super natural. Kind of like a real shadow would do. Just like that. It blends so easily. It's really, really easy to work with. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take the flat edge of my beauty blender and kind of tap that along my bottom lip. I want to keep this pretty close to my lip line because if you blow it out too far, it's going to look a little bit like a beard, and that's definitely not what we want. But we do want that little bit of a shadow there. Just like that. And instantly, it's darkened the shadow down. So instantly, my lower lip looks so much bigger. Makes such a giant difference. I'm going to take the tip of my beauty blender. And I'm going to blend this up onto my nose. Just the bottom portion of my nose. And make it look like it's a shadow cast from my nose. Which doesn't sound great, but it ends up looking really pretty. Just like that. And then for my nose contour, I'm going to take a brush. I'm going to use this Juno & Co. brush. This is the ES06. So it's just a kind of a very thin, fairly dense, fluffy brush. And I'm going to take this and start kind of tapping. And I like to take it up towards the beginning of my brow and kind of tuck it into my eye socket. Again, doing the same thing on the other side. Just kind of tapping it into place. Kind of contouring my eye just a little bit. Making sure to keep it, I don't want to curve out when I get to the tip of my nose. I want to keep it nice and straight, or it's going to make the tip of your nose look way bigger, and that's kind of exactly the opposite of what we're trying to do. So make sure you keep your lines nice and straight through the tip of your nose, and then don't neglect the bottom of your nose either. And now I'm just taking my brush and kind of pulling whatever's left down and fading it and kind of blending in those lines as best as I can. Just like that. I'm going to take my beauty blender and I'm going to go down the center of my nose. Just like that. And now we've got a really, really beautiful, very natural looking nose contour. It is so, so pretty. Super easy to do. You can, of course, go back in with a powder contour and kind of reinforce that if you want to. But because we've used a color that is so close to our actual skin tone, it looks like a really, really natural contour. It is really, really pretty. I so enjoy this technique, and this product is so fantastic. So, so good. I love it so, so much. Next, let's talk about a little bit of, Okay, let's finish our cream products. I'm going to do a little bit of a cream blush as well. I'm going to use this. This is the Milani oh my goodness. This one. It is a liquid blush. This is in the shade Pink Flirt. It is a absolutely stunning liquid blush. Again, super pigmented, guys. So a little tiny bit of this is going to take you a very, very long way. I'm just going to put that little bit on the back of my hand. I'm not even going to use all of that. I'm going to start with my finger. And I'm going to start kind of tapping this right where I want my blush to be. I'm not going to bring it too far in because I have a very round face. So again, the whole point is to lift and elongate my face to help it look just a little bit thinner. So I'm going to keep most of my pigment up and back. This is a really, really easy, beautiful liquid blush. Again, it looks super, super natural. I'm going to take the same side that I used for my foundation. And I'm going to kind of pinch and just blend that out. This is going to look really, really natural, but it's going to give us that really like youthful flush. And then of course, we're going to go back over it with a little bit of a powder, but just as a base. We're building layers. We're building layers of beautiful, beautiful color. And this is going to help the staying power of our makeup as well. So that way throughout the day, we're not going to have to worry about coming back and retouching or adding more blush or adding more highlight because we've done layers and everything's going to work together to create a really beautiful, long-lasting base. I'm also going to take just a little bit on my chin, just a dot, a little bit on my forehead, just a dot, and then I'm also going to take whatever is a little bit left and put it through the bridge of my nose, just the littlest bit. Again, pinching my beauty blender. I'm just going to kind of tap that in. I'm just putting the blush anywhere where I would naturally flush. Notice that I haven't used any powder on my face at all whatsoever, and we look flawless. We look airbrushed, we look flawless, but we don't look dry and we don't look cakey. I am going to add just a little bit of powder underneath my eyes just to ensure that we don't crease, but nothing is creasing yet. Nothing looks like emphasized, like nothing bad looks emphasized in any way. It is just an absolutely beautiful, very, very natural looking flawless base. I am so into it. I'm going to take a little bit of this liquid highlighter. This is not natural at all whatsoever. This is the Black Radiance Liquid Radiance Highlighter. This is in the shade Moonlit Glow. It's kind of like a holographic highlighter, but I like to use this as a base for more of my powder highlights because it's really, really just absolutely stunning. This does have small reflex of like holographic glitter in it. So if you're not into like a glittery highlight, this probably is not going to be the one for you. But I do think it is so, so beautiful. Also, this doesn't mess with any of the products underneath it. So it's not going to pull up our foundation in any way. I like to kind of tap it on first. It does dry fairly quickly. So I like to tap it on first and then again, go over it with my beauty blender. Just really kind of press it into the skin. I think this is such a fun highlighter. I hope that you guys are seeing it the way that it, just like the colors, it's fairly like pearlescent. Put a little bit on the tip of my nose, a little bit on my chin. Brings a really beautiful glow. And like a nice fun little pop of color. Let's take a little bit above my brows as well and just go over that again with my beauty blender. Just to kind of blend any edges and soften it just a touch. And there is our cream base. What do we think? Really, really beautiful. This is perfect for winter, perfect for summer. It's just an absolute, like, all like every day of the year, beautiful, beautiful, flawless base. I am in love with it so much. The products that I've used today are some of my absolute all-time favorites. They are my go-tos. I'm going to set my under eyes with a little bit of powder now. Not that I really need to, because this concealer is self-setting and it doesn't really crease on me. I am going to put just a tiny bit of powder, again, just to maintain longevity. I'm going to tap away any excess product that might be there with my fingertips first. And then I'm going to go in with my CoverGirl Advanced Radiance Powder. I'm going to use the teeniest, tiniest amount of this. I'm going to take this on my e.l.f. highlighting brush. And I'm just going to tap and really press that underneath my eyes. I'm not going to do a ton. Just enough to really set my under eyes and make sure that nothing moves throughout the day. This is also going to add just a touch of extra coverage for me. And as I get more tired throughout the day, my dark circles will get darker. And this is just going to be like another extra layer of insurance to make sure that I am covered as well as I possibly can be. Just kind of fluffing that all out underneath my eye and around my nose where I tend to sweat the most, just to really lock everything in. And that's it, guys. I could definitely, because my base is like really nice and set, I could definitely go in with a little bit more of a blush and a bronzer. One of my favorites right now is this NYX Ombré Blush. This is in the shade Soft Flush. It's such a beautiful, beautiful blush. I just love this color. I am going to take just a tiny bit of that. First, I'm going to go in with a little bit more of a bronzer. This is the L'Oreal Bronze Please in the shade 01. This is a fantastic, fantastic bronzer. Really nice and warm, but it doesn't pull like red or orange on my skin, which is nice as well. I'm going to take that on a slightly fluffy brush. This is an angled fluffy brush. And I'm just going to kind of swirl a little bit around the perimeter of my face. Very, very gentle pressure. Just again to bring a little bit more life back to my face. This is a beautifully pigmented bronzer, so you don't need a ton of it. I'm just putting it around the perimeter of my face, just to reinforce that liquid bronzer we did, and again to just kind of set it to make sure it's not going to go anywhere. I don't want to do I don't want to add too much because I don't want to be orange in any way. I'm going to put a little bit around my jaw as well and kind of fluff that down my neck just for the sake of continuity. Not taking a ton. Take a little bit under my lip as well, and then down each side of my nose, and then underneath my nose as well. Just like that. It's added just a little bit more color and just a little bit more warmth to our face without overpowering anything, yet we still look very, very natural and very, very put together. Let's go into our ombre blush now. For this, I like to use a slightly denser brush, and for that, I like to use this e.l.f. angled blush brush. Looks very much like the brush that we just used for our bronzer, whereas the blush brush is a lot denser. This is very, very floppy. So this is going to pick up more product, so just be aware of that. I'm going to very, very lightly tap into my blush, and starting back here, I'm just going to start pressing that into my skin. This gives you such a beautiful flush. I'm going to keep it back here though. Again, we want to keep our face nice and lifted, but I don't want to be too red either. So I'm going to keep it really back here. And do that on both sides, just kind of pressing it in to my skin. I do like to keep my blush pretty high as well. And then kind of blend everything out. I'm going to take a little bit on the bridge of my nose, a little bit on my chin, and then with whatever's left on my brush, I will take on my forehead, just like that. And just even those little touches have brought so much more color into our face. We still look very, we look very sun-kissed. We look very, very natural. We look very put together. And let's do a powder highlight just to top everything off. For that, I think I'm going to use, let's use my Profusion highlighter palette. So this is my Profusion Highlight and Contour palette. I'm going to go into this one right here. This is Impulse. I'm going to take that on my Moda highlighting brush. And I'm just going to keep that right back here, just to really catch the light. I'm not going to bring it too far underneath my eye. I find that that makes my face look chubbier. So I'm going to keep it back here and kind of do that C shape around my eye, just like that. It's a really, really beautiful highlighter. I'm going to do that on both sides, keeping it to the highest points of my face. I want to keep everything back, though, back on the side of my face. It's going to help me to really lift everything and make my face look so much longer. We've been here for 45 minutes, so I'm really trying to hurry up because this is a super long video. Of course, put a little bit on the tip of my nose and through the bridge of my nose. With whatever's left on my brush, I will bring it on my chin. And then on my Cupid's bow. Never, ever, ever forget the Cupid's bow. This is going to make your upper lip look nice and juicy and plump. It's going to create that little bit of a shadow. And whereas my upper lip looked much, much less full than my bottom lip, now that I've got the highlighter there, it's created this kind of shadow. And it looks so much juicier. Guys, that is my supernatural kind of glam base. Hope this was just a little bit informative for you. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be on the lookout for my next one. I am going to be reviewing some of the Nakia Joy pigments, oh my goodness, what are they called? The Chroma, oh my goodness, these guys, these right here, these are the Chroma Shift pigments from Nakia Joy. I am super, super excited about it. I cannot wait. I am going to be painting myself with these. They're so, so gorgeous. So that will be my next video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Please know that I love you so, so much. I know your time is precious, and I am so, so grateful that you choose to spend it with me. Let me know in the comments below if you guys think that this base is as beautiful as I do. If you guys think it's really beautiful and kind of fresh, which is kind of what I was going for. It's done and you're fully put together without looking like overdone. I think it's really, really pretty. I'm totally, totally into it. And yeah, this is probably going to be pretty much my go-to look coming for the coming summer. So again, I love you so, so much. I will be posting finished pictures over on my Facebook page, Makeup for the Everyday Mama, so please make sure you go over there and check it out. And as always, no filters, no edits, no fancy lighting. It's just me sitting here in front of my camera doing my makeup, hoping you guys are enjoying what I'm doing. I love you so, so much. Stay safe, take care of yourselves, and remember, you're important. Bye.